As we start off with gratitude, thank you for being here. Thank you for enjoying this cup of coffee with me. And thank you for allowing me to come into your homes or your phone, wherever you are. You are in my workshop here. As we started sharpening blades again, of the different ones that I've got to play with, because it's all about staying sharp. You know, in as much as we live our days every day and try to better ourselves, do we ever think about bettering ourselves as a purpose, as something that we got to do? And that's one of the things I want to talk to you about today in this morning coffee, because I want to say good morning to everyone. And a sense of purpose has come up to me to find things to do and share those ideas with you. And that's been this journey of sharpening blades, right? My journey on that. And still in the work, still doing my homework, still reviewing videos, trying to get it right. And it's such a simple process I've been doing right, but I also want to understand the whole process. But here's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Sharpness. Sharpening a blade. You know, we take a lot of time to sharpen our tools, to sharpen our weapons, to sharpen our knives. But do we ever take the time to sharpen our lives? To sharpen ourselves? You know, every time we hone our blades to get it sharpened, that honing alone does not happen overnight. It takes years of work to do that. But it's also one of the things that we have to constantly do. You know, you can't sharpen your blade once and expect it to be sharp forever. It's something that we constantly do. And that's one of the things that happened to me in my lifetime, right? In a lot of times that what I've done. Even on the show Forging Fire, here's an interesting part, you know. There was a time when I was sitting up there and I was just like, it was during the introduction of the judges. Kali martial artist, edge impact weapons specialist. And it didn't feel that way. I was sitting there and like, yeah, that's right. Kali martial artist. I am a martial artist, and during the filming, I've lost touch with my students and teaching regular classes, and it filled a void. There's a big void in there. So I asked one of my students who lived close by to come see me every day, if he could, every other day or whatever, but at least train with me. And that's Percy Thomas, right? He lived 20 minutes. So 5 in the morning, we're out there training. At least I got that to maintain my skills. But I wasn't growing. I was just maintaining, you know. And the edge impact specialist, I'm cutting stuff on the show, but I'm not actively keeping my edge up anymore. By not designing, by not training, by not teaching, I felt myself becoming dull. And it's very interesting, this imposter syndrome, because I felt the same thing from other friends of mine. As we aged and we were talking about where we are and what we're doing, life gets in the way. And life gets in the way in such a way that you start focusing on so many things, you stop the act of sharpening yourself. That was interesting. I go, so how do I sharpen myself? Well, there's the physical part. We are a use or lose body. As we age, the more you don't use certain parts of your anatomy, you're gonna lose it. You're not gonna be able to. That's why we've lost agility. When's the last time you've been doing agility workouts? Oh, I got busy with that. How's the flexibility? Oh, I'm not as flexible. When's the last time you actually kept on keeping your flexibility up, or some kind of workout? So I've maintained, but I did not agitate myself. You know, even when you're sharpening the edge and you have these stones, the coarser, the harder they are, the more you can shave off. It's the same thing with, I'm not challenging myself so I can get sharp again. I'm just existing. I'm just status quo. And that's good and bad, but it has to have a balance. You have to keep challenging yourself. So that's one of the things that I started realizing, that one thing I loved about the martial art training is you have to do a lot of repetitions of the same thing over and over. But so that it does not become mundane, change the variations of your repetition. Because every repetition that you do is like stroking to sharpen your blade. Every repetition, lots of repetition. So everything that I was doing repetitiously, but in a way I get bored, so I would do it a different way. Let's say a simple way to do that is use variations of the same thing. I need to write letter A, a simple letter A. right? Let's draw letter A. See the way I write letter A? Now I'm bored of just doing this, but I need these angles. So let me write it a different way. Write it a different way. Write it a different way. Up and down inside. I've created variations that keep me stimulated. Ooh, I've never thought of it. Well, let's write ABC now. Oh, can we go BBC or CAB or CBA? Just different ways of variations will also sharpen my mind, because I have to think about how this relates to the repetition that I get so bored doing. I have to challenge myself. In this Fortune Fire season, where we took some breaks and everything, I welcome that, because I took this time to say, hey, let me sharpen myself again. Well, yeah, of course, I've got the sharpening system. That's one way. But I've gone back to doing seminars. I've gone back to knife designing. I've gone back to finding things that truly made me who I was, because I would not allow to become dull. I would not allow myself not to do those things that kept me sharp. But you have to make the effort. That's what I'm learning, right? I can think about it, I can know it here, but if I don't put it into practice, the only thing that got the workout was my mind. My body wasn't there to match my mind. My spirit isn't there if I'm not involved in that. Because the spirit that doesn't have a body comes with your mind, your emotion, and the physicality of being able to do those things to inspire you. So when you have these pieces that are not in balance, if you don't pay attention to sharpening your spirit, to sharpening your mind, to sharpening your body, something's not going to be in balance. And that's how you become dull. A lot of times we dull ourselves because we gave up on doing what it requires to stay sharp. You have to make the effort. It's on you, and there's nobody else. And that's the beauty of waking up every day and saying, oh, I'm alive today. It starts now. Whoa, I'm alive today. Let me start sharpening myself. Oh, I have purpose. I can think about it now. Oh, all this I've lost. In the old days, I used to. The used to as an excuse? I was able to as an excuse? No, it's a challenge. I used to, so how can I get back to doing it? I loved that so much when I was younger, to get back to doing it. Why? Because your new purpose and challenge is to find ways to adapt, improvise, and overcome in you sharpening yourself. Because there will be new ways. That old way of doing stuff that you used to do when you were younger, that's gone. Now, you have to find a new way of doing it where you are. And don't compare to, I used to be able to do that. That's not you anymore. This is you. Where you are is your measuring point. If all I can do today is get this next step, it was better than yesterday where I wasn't even moving. And the step after that, your point of reference should be yourself today, but with the goal of bettering yourself and sharpening your edge and doing the things that you need to do to stay sharp from where you are. But it starts today and where you are and your point of reference. I think a lot of times we have set these goals of using the way we were and everything else. That's not there anymore. You got to work with what you got right now. And the beautiful thing is, once you realize, holy smokes, I got to dust this off. I got to sharpen what I am today. Magic happens. That's what I'm finding out when I start working with these systems here, that I'm finding the edge and I'm experimenting. I go, well, I can't do this anymore. What if I find a different way to do it? And then once you have that, you truly are in the process of sharpening yourself again. That you are still sharp the way you used to be, but better, because this is where I am, and it's something that I'm not hidden in my past and in my mind. It's active today. And that, folk, is my talk for today on this morning cup of coffee. How are you guys doing today on this Thursday? And hopefully we'll continue on with some of these ways to better ourselves from here on, not from what we used to be, and keep working on those things. Let me know in the comments right here how you feel about your ways. Have you gotten dull? What are the things that got you dull, and why? Why do I feel dull over things that I used to love? And now it's a question, how do I sharpen it again? How do I regain that confidence? How do I go back to it? And the simple answer is, just do it. Take care, folks.